I was 17 the summer we found the hole in the earth. It was 2004, back before smartphones ruled our lives, back when boredom was a physical weight you had to carry around. My parents had shipped me off to my great Aunt Martha's property in the foothills of the Appalachians. They called it a digital detox. I called it prison. The property was massive, hundreds of acres of dense, untamed forest that hadn't been logged in nearly a century. The nearest town was 20 miles away. My only lifeline was Travis. Travis lived on the neighboring plot of land. He was a year younger than me, but he was built like a linebacker and knew the woods better than I knew the back of my hand. While I was awkward and bookish, Travis was fearless. He was the kind of guy who would jump off a cliff into a river without checking the depth first. That July was brutal. A heat wave had settled over the mountains, turning the air into a thick, humid soup. You couldn't walk 10 feet without sweating through your shirt. The cicadas were screaming so loud it felt like tinnitus. We were desperate for a distraction. We had already hiked every trail, fished every creek, and shot cans off fence posts until we ran out of ammo. "There's gotta be something we missed," Travis said one Tuesday afternoon. We were sitting on his porch melting in the heat. My granddad used to talk about the old bootlegger trails up on the North Ridge. Said nobody goes up there anymore. I didn't want to go. It was too hot. But Travis was relentless. So we packed water bottles and machetes to clear the brush and headed up the North Ridge. It took us 2 hours of hacking through thorns and spiderwebs to reach the top. But when we did, we found something strange. The trees up there were different. They were twisted, gnarly, like they were recoiling from something in the center of the clearing. And the temperature, it dropped. Within the span of 10 steps, the oppressive 95-degree heat vanished, replaced by a chill that made the hair on my arms stand up. "You feel that?" Travis whispered. "Yeah, natural AC." Travis pointed to a cluster of boulders half buried in the side of the hill. "It's coming from there." We pushed aside a curtain of thick ivy. Behind it was an iron grate. It wasn't a natural opening. Someone, a long time ago, had installed heavy iron bars over a hole in the limestone. But time and rust had done their work. The bars were corroded and a section near the bottom had rotted away completely, leaving a gap just big enough for a person to squeeze through. A smell drifted out of the darkness. It smelled like wet earth, ozone, and something else. Something ancient, like stale air that hadn't moved in 1,000 years. "Dude," Travis grinned, his eyes lighting up with that dangerous spark. "It's a cave." "It's barred off for a reason, Travis," I said, stepping back. "Probably unstable, or an old mine shaft." "It's limestone," he countered. "It's natural. Come on, John, just a peek, just to see how far it goes." Before I could stop him, he was on his stomach, shimmying through the rusted gap. "Travis, wait!" His voice echoed back, hollow and strange. "It opens up. It's huge. Get in here." I looked at the sun filtering through the trees, then at the dark hole. I couldn't let him go alone. I took a deep breath of the cold, metallic air and crawled into the dark. That was the first mistake. Inside it wasn't just a cave. It was a cathedral. Our cheap flashlights barely cut through the gloom. The ceiling soared 30 feet above us, covered in smooth, flowing limestone formations that looked like frozen waterfalls. "This is insane," Travis whispered. We walked for what felt like an hour. The cave didn't branch out. It went straight down, a steady, gentle slope leading deep into the earth. But about 40 minutes in, I realized something was wrong. I stopped. Travis shut up for a second. "What? Did you hear something?" "No," I said. I don't hear anything. We listened. Silence. Absolute, perfect silence. There are no crickets, I said. No dripping water, no bats squeaking. Travis, look at the ground. There's no guano, there are no spider webs. Caves are ecosystems. They are usually full of life, blind bugs, bats, salamanders. This place was sterile. It was dead. It was like a hospital operating room made of rock. Maybe we're just too deep. Travis shrugged, but I saw him grip his flashlight tighter. We kept going until the path ended abruptly. We stood at the edge of a cliff inside the earth. Our lights couldn't find the bottom. But to our right, there was a narrow ledge leading to a circular opening in the wall, about 20 feet up. A steady, powerful draft of cold air was blasting out of it. That's where the wind is coming from, Travis said. We can't reach that, I said, secretly relieved. We need gear, ropes, ladders. Tomorrow, Travis stated firmly. We come back tomorrow with my dad's ladder. I tried to talk him out of it that night. I told him about the lack of bugs, the weird smell, the feeling of being watched. But Travis was obsessed. He had that look in his eyes, the look of a treasure hunter. The next morning we hauled a 20-foot aluminum extension ladder up the mountain. It was exhausting work, but Travis didn't complain once. We set it up on the ledge. Travis climbed first. When he reached the circular tunnel, he went silent. Travis, I called up. You okay? John, his voice trembled. You need to see this. I climbed up. The circular tunnel was short, maybe 10 yards. It opened up into a cavern so massive that our flashlights were useless. It felt like we were standing on the edge of the world. And in front of us, stretching out into the darkness, was water. A lake. The surface was black as oil and perfectly still. Not a ripple. It looked like a sheet of black glass. Travis picked up a rock and tossed it in. Plop. The sound was wrong. It didn't splash like water. It sounded thicker, heavy, and the ripples died out almost instantly, as if the liquid was suppressing them. How deep is it? I whispered. Let's find out. Travis pulled a glow stick from his pocket, one of those green industrial ones. He cracked it, shaking it until it glowed neon green. He tied it to a heavier rock with some fishing line and tossed it as far as he could. We watched the green light arc through the air and hit the water. It began to sink. We watched it go down. 10 feet, 20 feet, 50 feet. Usually in water the light fades as it gets deeper. It gets blurry. But this, the light didn't fade. It just got smaller. It went down and down and down. A tiny green pinprick in an infinite void. It sank for 5 full minutes before it finally disappeared. Travis swallowed hard. That's not possible. That lake, it doesn't have a bottom. We should have run. We should have left the ladder and never looked back. But Travis was convinced there was something on the other side. I saw shapes, he insisted. When the glow stick went down, I saw outlines of ruins on the far shore. 2 days later, he showed up with a rubber dinghy, a yellow inflatable raft he stole from his uncle's garage. We are not doing this, I said. I'm going, he said, with or without you. I couldn't let him die alone. We hauled the raft into the cave. We inflated it on the shore of the Black Lake. The sound of the pump echoed like gunshots in the silence. We pushed off. The raft sat high on the liquid. It felt incredibly buoyant. We started paddling. Aim for the center, Travis said. Then we head for the far wall. We paddled for what felt like 10 minutes. Is it just me? I panted, or are we not moving? I looked back at the shore we left. It looked miles away. I looked forward. The darkness was endless. Time, I said. Check the time. Travis looked at his watch. He tapped the glass. It stopped. I looked at mine. The second hand was twitching, vibrating back and forth, but not moving forward. Magnetic field, Travis guessed, but his voice was thin. Then we heard it. It wasn't a sound, it was a vibration, a low-frequency hum that I felt in my teeth, in the marrow of my bones. The water around the raft began to vibrate. Tiny patterns of geometry formed on the surface of the black liquid. "Paddle," I whispered. "Travis, turn around." "Wait," he pointed his flashlight down. "Look." I looked over the side of the raft. Deep, deep down, maybe a mile down, there was a light. It wasn't a glow stick. It was a soft, bioluminescent blue, and it was moving. It was rising. "Something's coming up," Travis said, mesmerized. "Paddle," I screamed. We dug our oars into the thick, oily water. We paddled like our lives depended on it. The hum got louder, turning into a physical pressure that made my nose bleed. I wiped blood from my upper lip as I rowed. The light below us grew brighter, shifting from blue to a sickly green. We hit the rocky shore so hard the raft almost flipped. We scrambled out, dragging the boat, and ran. We didn't stop until we were back in the sunlight, collapsing on the forest floor, gasping for air. My watch started ticking again the moment we exited the cave. We'd been in there for 5 hours. It had felt like 20 minutes. I didn't see Travis for 3 days. I stayed in my room, curtains drawn, trying to stop my hands from shaking. I kept smelling that ozone smell. On the 4th day, Travis knocked on my door. He looked terrible. His eyes were sunken, rimmed with red. He hadn't slept. He was holding a notebook filled with scribbles. "I know what it is," he rasped. He pushed past me into my room. He opened the notebook. It was filled with drawings of circles, concentric circles. "It's not a lake, John," he whispered crazily. "The biology, the water, it's fluid, vitreous humor. What are you talking about? We have to go back. It wants us to see." It showed me in my dreams. "I am not going back in there. Then I'll go alone," he shouted, "and I won't come back." He meant it. I could see the madness eating him alive. So God help me, I went with him, one last time, to save him. We went at night. It didn't matter, it was always night down there. We reached the shore. The hum was already there, waiting for us, low and steady. Travis didn't even wait for the raft. He walked to the edge of the water and clicked on a high-powered spotlight he had bought. "Show him!" Travis screamed at the dark water. "Show him!" He aimed the spotlight straight down into the black abyss. The beam cut through the water deeper than our weak flashlights ever could. At first, I saw nothing. Then I saw the texture. The bottom of the lake wasn't rock. It was fibrous, like muscle strands. And then the structures Travis had seen on the far side, they moved. They weren't ruins. They were eyelashes. Massive black monolithic pillars of hair, hundreds of feet long, rooting into the fleshy shore. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. I fell to my knees, vomiting bile. Travis was laughing, a high, shrieking laugh. "It's beautiful." The blue light rose from the depths again, but this time it wasn't vague. It was distinct. It was a circle. It was an iris, a pupil the size of a city. We weren't floating on a lake. We were standing on the tear duct of a titan, a thing so massive that its eye alone was an underground ocean. The earth above us, the mountain. It wasn't rock. It was a brow ridge. We were like fleas crawling on the face of a god buried beneath the crust of the earth. And then it moved. The ground shook. An earthquake that threw us flat on our backs. A tidal wave of black fluid rose up as the ceiling of the cave began to descend. It wasn't a ceiling, it was an eyelid. It was blinking. "Run!" I grabbed Travis by his collar. He was trying to jump in. He wanted to merge with it. I dragged him. I punched him in the face to make him stop fighting me. I dragged his dead weight up the ladder as the air pressure in the cave spiked, popping my ears. The sound of that massive eyelid closing against the water was like a thunderclap that lasted for 10 seconds. We scrambled through the rusted grate just as a blast of displaced air shot out of the cave mouth, knocking trees down outside. We never spoke about it. Travis was committed to a mental institution 2 months later. His parents said he was hallucinating about the Watcher. He kept trying to gouge his own eyes out because he said he didn't want it to see him anymore. I went back to the city. I finished school. I got a job. I pretended to be normal. But when Aunt Martha died last year, she left me the property. The first thing I did was hire a private contractor. I paid him triple to fill that depression in the North Ridge with concrete. Tons and tons of concrete, reinforced steel. I told them it was an old mine shaft that was leaking toxic gas. They sealed it. But last week, I went up there to check on it. The concrete slab is cracked, a hairline fracture right down the middle, and if you put your ear against it, you can hear it. Not wind, not water. You can hear a low, rhythmic thrumming. Thump, thump, thump. It sounds like a heartbeat, and it's getting faster. It knows we're here. And I think it's waking up.